Hey everyone, and welcome back to the AI in Action podcast. I'm your host, Mazor, Kario, product design and AI expert, and today we are exploring the transformative potential of AI agents to revolutionize business operations. I'm so excited to have Mickey Haslavsky, founder and CEO of Enso, a company at the front end of developing AI agents for business application. We'll be exploring what AI agents are, how they can help businesses improve efficiency and productivity, and the key things managers need to know to effectively leverage this transformative technology. What are AI agents? Why everybody's talking about it, and how is it different from any other AI tools?
So AI agents are basically autonomous task executors. They're designed to do a specific task very, very well to help you achieve something. The difference maybe between like a SaaS tool or like the old world tool is that it does the work autonomously for you. You don't need to tweak it or to tell it exactly what to do. It basically designed to do this thing very well. If you're looking at Lovable or Base 44, this is an AI agent that writes code to create web applications in a very well, like in a very well-shaped kind of form. If you're looking at Durable, it's a great way to create landing pages for small businesses. If you're looking at some of the agents at Enso, they're designed to do a specific task, so you as a small business can save time. So this is basically what's the difference. It's more proactive and it's more automatic than a SaaS tool, which you need to manage.
Yeah, but what you mentioned is like some people would call them AI tools and some people would call them agents. So like what is the main difference between, like I'll go to ChatGPT, he would answer something. I will go to Jasper, he would write me something. What's the difference between that and what we call an agent?
Nobody really understands yet what the exact difference. There are basically two ways to build agents. So there are two types of agents. One is a workflow agent or like agentic workflow, which basically smart Zapier or smart NA10 or smart those types of workflows that are predefined to do steps. And there are more open-ended agents which are using LLMs, using OpenAI or using Gemini or using DeepSeek to think how to achieve a task. So for example, let's say you have a task to go and research a specific website. Okay, you go and you want to scrape all the available real estate listings on Zillow because you want to find an apartment. So you can ask an AI agent to go and to do it in an open-ended request, and it will have to figure out by itself how to do it. So those are the difference. The thing is, and you're coming from PM and design, so the biggest difference is that by the end of the day, you need to use an AI agent. And for that, you need to create a UI around an AI agent. And then it becomes more like a tool. So that's where it becomes confusing.
Yeah, you're right. So what are the most important things that managers need to know about managing and working with AI agents effectively?
Well, there are many things. AI agents are not yet mature. It's a new technology that was developed a year and a half ago, so it's very, very in the early days. But it is extremely revolutionary in the sense that it basically allows you to save so much time achieving stuff. So we saw yesterday, so Midjourney, for example, is a foundational model, but they built an AI agent that knows how to operate this foundational model to create all of these images. And we see the exact thing that is happening right now with ChatGPT, where they created their foundational image generation model, and the entire world is now Ghibli-style design. I think we need to get comfortable with the idea that everything that's digital will be automated. This is where the world we're heading towards. This is the Armageddon we've been all, fearing of because it's, the world is happening. Now everything is run by robots. But you as a manager, and a manager is a great word because those are like AI employees that you'll have to manage, and you'll have all of those all over the place. So at Enso, you can hire, for example, an agent that will get you leads, and you define what type of customer you're looking for, and it will just keep searching for it forever. This is like a freelancer or an employee that works for your business. So you as a manager just have to have very well-defined tasks and to find the very best AI agents to achieve those tasks, just like you did with freelancers 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is that AI agents are effectively digital workers that you need to work with. They're not that mature as you just mentioned, but they will be. So you need to start working with them right now, and you will get, I guess, all the benefits and the knowledge you need to know in a year or two. I wouldn't say it will be more than that. Let's say like in 2 years, you could just use these tools and tell them, this is what I'm looking for. That's my business. For example, these are the types of leads we currently have. These are the types of clients, even like attaching to a system like Salesforce and knowing what are the types of clients that you earn the most from. And these are the types of like leads I'm looking for. And they would just do it for you.
Yeah, that's basically the idea. And then it creates an entire question as business owners about what is an organization in a new world where robots are maybe half of your workforce. And what type of people do you hire to implement those, and who's going to manage them? And I think, we're very much into details because it's exciting and many things are happening and it's like, wow, there's so many things, and then I can create photos and websites and apps, but that's not the question. The question is, how do you manage all of this and how do you build an organization in this new age where everything is automated? This is I think is revolutionary in terms of it's historical. We're seeing a very much new era unfolding in front of our faces.
Yeah, you know what? I'm teaching in the Reichman University, and I just talked to my students, and we talked about that exactly. They're learning business and computer science and entrepreneurship, and they asked me, so what do you think? Like we're learning right now computer science, for example, and it seems that we will not have, at least if we're a junior at the beginning, and how would we be a senior if we're not junior, right? What should we do? And I think that one of the things that we have here is like people that need to understand this technology and help businesses integrate these technologies and manage them effectively and use them effectively. I think that's for sure will be needed. So how do you see that?
I don't know yet. That's reality, and we're building those. So I see the technology. First of all, the pace in which our environment is changing. I couldn't even imagine a world like this before because so we launched a new marketplace of AI agents about a month ago, and we've been working on this for a few months. And in these few months, we had to change the infrastructure like 6 times, and no company does that. It's just impossible. But the better the AI becomes, the better the tools that are integrated into AI become, and it's extremely important. So I don't know yet. I'm learning myself, trying to figure out, how do you grow an organization in which I'm hiring robots all day long, and they don't particularly listen to me, and I can't start a Monday board with them and tell them, hey, here's what I want you to do. So the world is a little crazy, and I think it's exciting, but definitely different, and I think that's what to embrace just how different it's gonna be. Having said that, the fundamentals are the same. Customers are customers, needs are needs, problems and solutions are, the same concepts. So just try to stick to whatever you're teaching in Reichman, which is important, which is like the principles of business applied by this new world.
Yeah, and what would you tell the students? Should they be worried, or would they have like new positions that we don't know yet?
I think there are 2 things that changed fundamentally. One is the barrier to entry to any digital work. And what's happening here is that if and I'm sorry for the, kind of imaginary explanation, but if I'm a poor guy from Bangladesh and I don't have the connections that somebody at Reichman has or somebody at Harvard, but I have these tools, and I'm at Reichman and I have these connections and I'm much better and I have the money and I'm much wealthier. we're not very different anymore. It's just about being an entrepreneur or being a creator of whatever. Now it's just easy. It's a matter of imagination. Yesterday I created about 60 ads with ChatGPT with the new model for our company. It would have taken me about a week and a half just 3 weeks ago. So it's really changing fast. So I don't think we're gonna lose jobs. I just think we'll have a much more flat world in which everybody will have the same tools, and it's just a matter of execution and how creative you are to get these done. And I think there is no such thing as junior anymore. What's junior? Junior is not a real thing anymore, because if you know how to execute alongside an AI system, you're not a junior anymore. You can produce, you know what? Maybe the craziest story I have is when the whole world of Cursor, Lovable, Base 44, Riplet, all of these ones.
Yeah, it's like no code coding actually. Like
Yes, and then
you
you're
just
looking
ask
into
them what to write and they write the code.
Exactly, and you're looking at the eyes of the developers, which were kings. They were the kings of the industry up until like a few months ago, and they're scared because they see how their work is being commoditized into $400 a month system. And this will definitely affect how you hire people and why you do that. But it also will give any junior who couldn't find work the transformative tools to achieve whatever they want. And it's huge for organizations. So it's a very, very, very balanced approach to just a completely new world. So that's how I'm looking at this.
You mentioned like you're sure that you will not like lose jobs. And I'm surprised you're saying that. Because if a company has an option to pay 400 instead of 4,000, they will probably prefer the 400. And what one person could do with a team of digital worker of AI agents is much, much more like than what they could do like half a year ago or a year ago, right? So why should they hire more people? They could do with less.
Because you need minds behind those. Robots are great execution machines, but you need the strategists, and you need the thought leaders, and you need the engineers to tell them what to do. It's not about so if you are an entrepreneur and you have an idea but you're non-technical, you'll get to a certain point or certain kind of ceiling in terms of what you can achieve. So you need those people to manage those robots and to get things done. So I think that's why this is important. It does mean, though, that teams will be smaller. I'm not saying people won't lose their jobs. I'm just saying we're in a very more flat world where people can launch businesses in one click. People can apply to work not just with an interview. They can build an entire system for the job interview. So and right now we have a huge partnership coming up with a very important government organization in the US that works with small businesses, and I could see it clearly. Like, they had a dream of how this world should look like, and I took one of those tools and I built it in 5 hours. And before that, I would have spent months on this. And so it's a world of imagination now. It's just a matter of whatever you have in mind can be executed in 30 seconds. It's scary, but this is the reality.
Yeah. So we agree that they might need less people, but it seems that there will be new positions and new opportunities. That's what we agree on, right?
And I'm a small business owner. It's a startup, but it's still a small business. My parents are small business owners, and all of the struggles of being a small business owner, they're getting easier. This is fun. Be an entrepreneur. Like, this is my life mission, to get people to be entrepreneurs. You can do whatever you want. Go build your app in 5 minutes. Go launch your Facebook campaign in 10 minutes. Get the $5,000 loan from the bank and go start running. The world is insane. And I think this is what's exciting about it.
Right. And what are some of the challenges that businesses face when deploying AI agents?
First of all, AI agents are, as I mentioned, they're not mature. So if you don't know the technologies behind them, sometimes they'll go bananas in terms of what they're going to produce. So I think just figuring out, and again, most businesses don't really deploy AI agents. They deploy workflows, which is great, which is the new world of Zapier or Make or whatever, or an A10. And those are very kind of limited in what they can do, but that's good because this will put guardrails on the quality. On the other hand, if you're actually trying to create like AI agents, open AI agents that can, do whatever they ask for, this is much harder than people think, and it requires a lot of engineering effort because of quality. Because by the end of the day, what gets this, extremely disappointing is that you're building something and then it doesn't work, or it produces extremely bad content, or it clicks on the wrong stuff. So that's where the fun. But again, with all of those applications that we're talking about, you don't need to build anything anymore. People are building right now those horizontal systems that can do that for you, and that's what's exciting.
You mentioned no-code applications, like asking for someone to build, especially web interfaces, front end. The back end is not there yet. I'm emphasizing the word yet, but it seems that people need to know specific things within the high-level structure, the infrastructures of coding, in order to really understand it. It seems that the skills and capabilities you need from someone who writes code is so different. It's only like the basic of high-level understanding. Do you think that we should change the way that we teach people in the university? Like what you really need to know in order to find the flaws, in order to find the fixes, in order to find the infrastructure of coding in that case, or in any other, like it could be like in marketing, it could be in, law, whatever.
The question is always a question of value. And I wouldn't care less. I couldn't care less if my attorney uses AI. I couldn't care less if the marketing agency I just got on board is using AI. I just couldn't care less. What I care about is value, right? It's execution. So I don't think universities where I don't have a degree, so I'm not very familiar, unfortunately, with the details.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that you're like crying each day like without a degree.
I actually am not happy about that because
Really?
because
I'm
I
very
yes
surprised.
I feel like I've missed missed an experience, and that's not fun because my friends did. My best friend went to Stanford. Most of my friends went to either Reichman or Tel Aviv or whatever. So they got an experience. I know they were suffering during
The
תקופת
suffering
מבחנים.
experience.
But yeah, it's I mean, it's
And
an
I'm
experience.
very, very surprised with what you're saying, because when people ask me, I tell them, do you really need a degree to start a business? And then see if it's as you say, it's an experience, right? But if you don't need first the connections that you have from the business degree or whatever, and you don't need the skills that you learn there, and you're suffering because, and by the way, in the US, you pay in a very expensive university for your 3 years of suffering. Does that make sense today? Especially because you're an entrepreneur and apparently you're doing successfully without it. So why do you still think it's needed?
I frankly don't think you need a degree as an entrepreneur, and that's why I didn't go to college or any
Yeah.
educational system for learning that, because I just feel like the only way to be a good entrepreneur is to be an entrepreneur and just to get good at this. There is no theoretical way to say, here's what I would do. I'll give you an example. I started a company in the travel space in 2019. You don't do that. In 2020, the world collapsed when COVID got introduced by whoever created it. And it was the first time when I faced an extreme environment because I had to lay off my entire team, 17 people.
Wow.
And to stand in front of my investors and say, I have zero idea what to do about it because I didn't know if it's going to be 3 months, 5 months, a year. It took 4 years by the end, or like 3 years. And I got lost in the game completely, and I lost millions of dollars in contracts. And I could never learn how to deal with a situation like this sitting in a class. It's just impossible.
Right?
I just had to face it.
Right.
So the reason I didn't go to college or didn't have a degree, just that. But I do, like my girlfriend, she's a doctor in Ichilov. She's been studying for 7 years, and now she's doing whatever process they do for many more years. And
Yeah.
I'm happy about it because when I'm coming over to a doctor, I don't want to realize that he learned how to, treat me on YouTube because this is a bad experience. So I really think it's just a matter of what you're trying to achieve. I do think that learning or studying entrepreneurship just by design is different because entrepreneurship is an actionable process where you do things, iterate, and see if it works. So
Yeah.
that's where I stand in terms of, but I'm still super unhappy about losing the experience. And now I'm 30, I'm gonna be 31 soon. You don't go to college to enjoy parties anymore. So I feel like I have a hole that other people experienced and I didn't.
At least I could invite you if you want to come to my class. It's Thursday, so you could have like a taste of being in Reichman if you want.
Sounds great. I would be very happy to. Thank you.
Sure. So how do you see AI agents impacting different sectors or industries?
It's listen, do you remember cloud? When the world was like, wow, you don't need to download software anymore. No, next on Windows and waiting until it's installed. And it's automated. You can just go to your browser and you can just browse stuff. And wow, and did you see Figma? It's like Photoshop within your, it's the same type of revolution. Or the mobile revolution. It's that big. It just changes the way software works in just general. So it's going to affect everything just by nature because it's software and software is eating the world, as Ben Horowitz says. And if software is eating the world and it's everywhere in every industry, AI agents are just an automated application for everything you can think about. And again, it lowers the barriers into like an insane experience where everybody are developers, designers, creative people. They can just achieve more. And that's how it's going to affect. It's going to affect the 3D modeling space because it already does. It's going to affect how you do construction because for the first time in history, you can build an entire model of a building in 30 seconds before you even start building it. But what it's not going to affect, it's not going to, and I think that's my investment thesis, by the way, like in the stock market even, and this is not an advice or anything. You know, when I invest now, I invest in a physical world, in construction companies, everything related to industrial stuff, things that cannot be digitally automated because I do understand that everything digital is going to be commoditized. And that means that every industry will lose some of its leaders and some new leaders will rise up in a new shape and form. Durable is a great example, for example. Durable is a website builder. It takes 30 seconds to create it. Something that it took Wix 20 years to build. They've built with 5 people, not even in a garage, they're in New York, in 3 months. And that's where the wow is. But still, Wix is gonna beat this market or GoDaddy or the big guys because they have marketing and brand, and that's still happening, and people still need trust to trust software and etc.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that maybe, as I envision the future, that some things that right now people they see that as obvious and maybe it's not like a good position or not things to learn, is more like things that are connected to people. Like, like therapy, like yoga, like going and doing something together in nature, like things that are outside of the digital world. Because right now it's like everybody wants to be a coder or wants to be like, in the digital space, and it seems it's going to be very, very different and changing really fast. But if you have a back pain, you still have a back pain and you still need a massage or whatever. And as you say, like that's the real world, or your car is broken, you have to go to a mechanic. So it seems that it's going like all the way went to the digital, and now it's a bit like going back to something which is like more human or in the real world.
Having said that, and I've been thinking about therapists a lot because I really love this space and I think it's an important thing in life to have. I wish my therapist would have a smart AI system that would analyze everything I say to help them figure out what's the core root problems that I'm suffering from or dealing with. Because, therapy is a very long process and it can definitely help people just to get better, faster. And not sure this is good news, by the way, for the pharmaceutical industry, but it is a good thing for life. And so, yeah, we all gonna have those co-pilots in everything, that's for sure.
About therapy, I know that one of the things that I learned, like I always take one day to learn, and it's always something that is not related to my profession. And one of the things that I learned is ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. So I'm part of this like group of therapists. I'm not doing therapy, I just learned it. And it's 2 things. First, there are agents and tools for therapists in order to record, analyze, and understand the therapy sessions themselves. But something which is more interesting as I see it is like you go to a therapist once a week for 1 hour, 50 minutes, right? During the week, you would have like this guide or a semi-therapist, somebody who could guide you through life and think together with you throughout the session. So in the end, you would have someone to escort you through the week, and the therapist would get like a summary of what's going on, and she would continue from this point. So you'd have someone which is a person, but you'd have a digital helper.
Yeah, same thing about business. You, for the first time, going to have a business coach in your pocket, which you can ask questions about when you're making decisions. And yeah, this is literally the future.
So what do you see as like predictions for AI agents, even like in the next half a year? What do you think would change?
Wow, every time I say a prediction, it's happening not in 6 months. It's happening in a week. I have no idea. That's, I think, the scary part of all of this. I don't know. Maybe it will become more autonomous. Maybe OpenAI. By the way, OpenAI is like the queen of the space.
Right.
There is no king yet. And I think, they have a very solid business model which says, hey, use our models as APIs and build whatever you want. But every release they make on their ChatGPT app is killing billions of startups because it's
what you see right now in the image. Did you see their latest image addition to the Sora model?
Yes, I did. And I think and that's a great example because that killed like 50 advertising startups that I know personally because nobody needs that anymore. So so I don't know what to predict here. It's just, stay tuned and be in the details. I think that's very important because people are like, yeah, when it's released, I'm going to be there. But, GitHub is exploding right now with all of those open source models. And I think, just following that is extremely important.
But what you mentioned is like these giants, like you call it OpenAI, but actually it's Microsoft, right? So it's like they purchase, I don't know if we call it purchase.
OpenAI is almost valued. What's the value of Microsoft right now? Let me check.
I have no idea. I never bought anything. I'm not like one of the.
Yeah, so so Microsoft is almost $3 trillion in market cap, and OpenAI is 10% of this, so it's $300 billion, and I think. Yeah, I think OpenAI will be a standalone company by the end of the day. You will have to remember that Microsoft invested in Facebook very early on as well and was part of the IPO. And that's why Bing was the default maps integrated into Facebook for many, many years. So Microsoft is a great investor, but not the owner of OpenAI. So that's
I know, but their connection is really big, especially in the infrastructure, in the cloud, and the computing power that they give them. That's why they're together. But in any case, what you mentioned is that there are these like huge models going to AGI in a direction of an AGI, and they would be powerful and maybe much better than most of the smaller companies out there. As I see it, the smaller companies' advantage could be only in a specific domain. For example, I know exactly what's going on in all the regulations and laws in the US, and I'll do something for lawyers. So I would be better than, I hope, than OpenAI in that. But how do you see that?
No, we disagree. We as a company just disagree with this because Enso is horizontal. I think the whole idea of AI is that it's personalized. You don't have an advantage by knowing the regulations as an attorney or a legal representative because AI knows that better.
Mm-hmm. No, I meant that you build a tool that is specified for a specific domain, not as a person.
Yeah, but then OpenAI would say, Sam Altman was like the number one preacher of starting in a very niche industry and then expand from there at YC. And then he created OpenAI.
But
no, not at all. Every successful AI tool is horizontal. That's the truth. I don't know vertical AI tools that are, successful because what you come over to an attorney and you say, here's a better workflow than what you can achieve with a larger platform that would cover more of your business. It doesn't sound right. But I do agree that in terms of UI, maybe to adjust based on industry is important because, to speak the language of the problem that you're trying to solve and etc. But we're in a world that will be driven like 99% trust and brand. 99 and like there will be modes like network effects and like integrations and stuff that to make it harder to leave, which I think, by the way, OpenAI missed on it big time, because if they would integrate with all of my systems and knew exactly what are my knowledge base, I would never leave. But now I have zero reasons to stay. Like, if Gemini is better, I'm gonna move to Gemini. Anyways, I'm just saying that it's a lot about personalization. It's a lot about how the system knows you. and what are you going to lose when you leave the system versus what you're going to get when you get the system. That's, I think, the most important part. I realized that not very long ago, and unfortunately, I really hoped that I knew what I'm just saying a year ago, because that's what matters. What matters is losing the production or whatever you did for the customer. Customers don't like to lose stuff, or people don't like to lose stuff much more than they don't like to not to gain good stuff, which is weird, but that's reality. So I think it's a lot about personalization, and I don't think somebody will have an advantage. We're flat completely right now.
That's interesting, because when I think about the tool itself, and you think about the way to get to the tool. Like, what is the technology that we created, or what is the offer from a technical point of view, that I totally understand what you're saying. But let's say that I'm a therapist. Let's go back to being a therapist. I wouldn't want to go and chat with ChatGPT in order to understand things. I need to create a tool that knows exactly how do I work with my cases, and how do I work with my patients, and what do I do usually with them. And
I disagree because they use it right, like doctors in surgeries are using ChatGPT.
You don't need to come. Yeah, I'm here.
And therapists too. They use it every day. So creating a better version of ChatGPT is not good enough to be a powerful app or a powerful company. It must be so deeply integrated into what you do as a character, as a profession, that you cannot leave it. And OpenAI did a great job doing that. Therapist I know is using ChatGPT. Every therapist. And it will be extremely hard to bypass this.
Yeah, I know they do use it, but it's not integrated into, like, it's very specific. They could have, let's say, a history of a chat per one of their cases, right?
Yeah, but I know what you're saying, but the value of bringing something that will, for example, give them the ability to manage their clients in it, and it's a question, but I don't know if it's going to be as valuable as we think it is, because I used to think in the same way.
Yeah.
That's how we built Enso. And then I realized, like, what the heck am I doing? It's all about personalization, like 99%. Automation and personalization, this is the 2026 theme, where AI agents 2025, 2026 will be personalization and automation 100%.
I see what you're saying. That's interesting. I never thought about it this way. But what you're saying is that all the tools need to be like some kinds of, like a marketplace, or a place that you could gather different capabilities into one, and not building something which is specific to your users. That's what you're saying.
What I'm saying, that software is not anymore a workflow. So you don't build something that does something step by step. It's a versatile, like, for example, the future of Enso will be different UI completely from customer to customer, because they can adjust it. They can say, I don't want leads this way, I want leads this way. And this creates an environment in which nobody can build something that will be better, because the customer built it for themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the world is, but that's a mind-blowing thing, because it means that you as a product manager, you have zero control over whatever the customer wants and needs. They will decide what they need. They will say, here's how I want it, and the system will adjust it based on that.
Yeah. No, you could give them the right customizations capabilities in order to get to their goals. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So what do you think is the most important thing someone needs to know right now in order to be a better business owner or manager?
First of all, go explore. The world is now a jungle full of interesting animals, so go pet them because it's fun. But I think that's where that's the interesting part is. Most of the business owners we're working with, they're not familiar with AI, which is okay because it's a very much technical space. And I think the interesting part is, how do you get to understanding very fast as a business owner what are the problems you're facing? So whether it's too much time taking my admin work, or is it just figuring out how to do advertising better, and just finding the AI agent that can help you do that. We have a marketplace with many of those. They're designed for non-technical SMBs, but there are many ones that are vertical and do only specific type of ads that are also great. So it's just a matter of how big is the problem and how much you want to be involved in this process, which is very important as well. So it's basically that. Figuring out the
That's what you're
problems.
saying. You just start doing it.
Yeah, and just figure out what the problem you're trying to solve, because there are many solutions. So, and they're free. So enjoy.
By the way, it's very hard to know what is a very good tool, what is something that gives you high value, what is something that gives you precise solution and answers, because you have a very big diversity. There's an AI for that. You have I think 13, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So how do you know what is good and what is not? It's very problematic right now because most of them are very superficial right now.
That's true, and part of what we're trying to solve with a marketplace is this, so that if you like one of them, the other ones will be the same. Having said that, I think it's mandatory for businesses to do that, because if they don't do that, their competitors will, and if their competitors will, they might get out of business. It's important enough as a task to integrate AI into your business, to spend a day and say, hey, I need a few hours to explore these tools. I think it's extremely important. So I don't think it's a recommendation anymore. I think it's mandatory for any of the business owners listening to that. Otherwise, again, the other guys will beat you out of business. You don't want to do that.
Do you think that in the future you would have AI integrators, people who are responsible for all the integrations and customizations of AI?
In organizations, or as today with SAP and stuff?
In organizations. It could be a small business or a big company, but you need someone to take care of all of that.
It's an interesting question, because I think there will be an AI agent that will do integrations better than a company does. I do, because they write code well, so why not? So I do think there will be integrators for sure, especially for more industrial kind of companies, or financial institutions and stuff like this. But I do think also that there will be software that can do these integrations quickly, and there will be a little technical person at the company who can operate them, and that's much more important.
Yeah. By the way, if someone would ask me what would be what would I invest in the future, is one is security and AI for sure, because they will have lots of work for security. And second, I think that things that are related to personalization for the end customer, it could be personalized ads for end customers, or personalized solutions for big customers, or something that is related maybe to the connection with the customers. And that's the things that I would think about, because right now when you're just thinking about all the, let's say, image creation tools, so one image, and you have hundreds or thousands of image creation models, right? So even just thinking about the potential of the creation of one of them could be for all the eyeballs in the room, right? You could create everything for all the ads and for all the brands, for everyone. The secret would be that you know what is the right image for me, like the model that they have in Netflix for a specific image for one of the shows. They know that I would prefer to press something. So I think there is something very, very unique that I would go for. What would be your bet?
Yeah, I'm on to personalization as well, so I 100% agree. As I mentioned, that's what AI is about. It's not about software, it's about building what you need specifically, which creates an entire new world of how software looks like. And again, product managers need to rethink how the world looks like now, because it's not the same anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in our last question. What's your number one tip for entrepreneurs today?
Work alone, don't raise money, build first. And don't think about how to build a company. Think about how to build a great experience first. Because the world of raising money for an idea is dead. You don't need it anymore. You can just build the thing and try it. And shout out to Mazor from Base 44.
Yeah.
He's a great friend, and he's a great entrepreneur. He started a great company before called Explorium, and we were we had the same investors for my previous company, so I know him well. And it's insane. He just took an open source project, he turned it into an app that is now a creator of thousands or hundreds of thousands of other apps, and he's alone. And He just gives you a glimpse into the future. One person and hopefully hundreds of millions in revenue. This is insane.
Yeah, that's insane, really. And so where could people hear more about Enso and contact you?
Go to my LinkedIn. I type about it all the time, or enso.bot or Enso AI on Google, and then you will find it, especially if you're in the US. We're everywhere. So if you need AI agents, we're like the Amazon of them. So just go and type and see what works for you and enjoy.
Thank you, Mickey. It's been really, really interesting to talk to you and insightful. I'm going back to my original idea. You could come to be one of my students if you want to come to Reichman on Thursdays.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, sure. And we'll be in touch again. So thank you again. And thank you to everyone that listened to us. And I'll see you next week. See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.